All right, for more on this, let's bring in townhall.com news editor Katie Pavlich and Juan Williams, Fox News political analyst. Juan and Katie, thanks to both of you for coming in on this Christmas Eve. I want to take a look at what Dan Henninger writes in the Wall Street Journal about all of this. He says immigration and Biden's Title 42 catastrophe. Progressives have the realities of governing turned inside out. Their idea of governance is based on abstractions like justice or equity. Justice is worthy, but since the beginnings of organized society, the practical requisite for progress has been maintaining civil order. They have demoted order to a secondary concern, if that. Okay, Juan, let me start with you. We see the pictures every day from our Bill Malugin and Griff Jenkins and others. There really doesn't appear to be much civil order down at the border. The numbers of people crossing are historic, epic. We keep hearing it. And it seems like the administration could put a stop to it if they wanted to. What do you say about that?
Well, I mean, I have much respect for Dan Henninger. I think he's terrific. But I think that the concept of justice and order are closely related, and especially in the United States of America. We're a nation of laws. And one of our laws says that you have a right to asylum in this country if you can get here and get before a immigration judge and make your case. And that's what these people are doing. So I don't think it's a matter of, I think it's a matter of a human tragedy, because you see the conditions that these people are in. You see how they're being treated in some cases and what they go through with the cartels, the children, the abuse. It's horrific. But I would say that we have to fix the laws in order to attain the order that Dan is calling for, because the order would serve both the immigrants who are being abused and us as a society.
Okay, Katie, I want you to weigh in on that, but certainly not all of the people crossing the border are putting forth legitimate asylum claims. I mean, I just don't think that that's true. So I want you to weigh in on that quickly, and also, what do you think that the Biden administration could do if they really wanted to stop this right now?
Look, the thousands of people who cross illegally into the country every single day are not crossing with legitimate asylum claims. They're crossing with coached words from a billion-dollar cartel narco-terrorist industry that the Biden administration has enabled by allowing this to happen. They're coached to say a few words, which are, "I am in fear." And that is enough for them to get put on a bus by Border Patrol and sent to any city or state in the country that they please to go to. We've seen that happen. And while Democrats criticize Republican governors for sending illegal immigrants to states that claim to be sanctuary cities, governors and Democratic representatives and Democratic mayors like in El Paso are crying out for some leadership from this administration. When you look at the video on your screen and you see Border Patrol putting people onto buses, that is not the mission of Border Patrol. And yet the policies of this administration have not only enabled cartels to prey on these people, but they've also forced the Border Patrol into this situation where they are not patrolling the border, not protecting national security, but putting fraudulent asylum claims onto buses and sending them to communities all across the country, which are paying the price. And I'll add this last thing. On the national security front with Title 42, Title 42 really is a COVID policy. And the administration could keep it, may help with these numbers, but the fact is that the administration could be doing a lot more when it comes to national security. There are people coming from 100 different countries into the country illegally, including those from hostile places where there are hotbeds for terrorism. We have no idea who these people are. So the Biden administration has an obligation to protect the American people from strangers who are coming into the country and breaking our laws.
Okay, want to ask you quickly in the little time we have left about a new book that claims that President Biden dropped F-bombs over the lack of solutions to the border. This is a book from Chris Whipple, The Fight of His Life Inside Joe Biden's White House is what it's called. And apparently, he said, meanwhile, illegal immigrants kept arriving and Biden was furious. Aides had rarely seen him so angry. From all over the West Wing, you could hear the president cursing, dropping F-bombs. And of course, he'd always apologize when women were present. So that's considerate. Juan, if he's so angry, why doesn't he go down to the border and talk to the Border Patrol agents, hold a press conference, and tell people not to come?
Well, wait a second. He cares deeply. Obviously, he's infuriated. I don't know that a photo op is going to really solve it. We've got to come up with a solution as a country. I think Congress needs to act. Republicans need to act. I don't think you can assume that all these people don't have any legitimate complaints. In America, we give people an opportunity. We actually are a country of immigrants, and we respect the idea that people struggle to get here.
Yes, yes, good point. Fair enough. Katie, let me just have you respond to the book.
Look, President Biden has a lot of things he can do here to stop the flow from coming. The truth is that the administration is perfectly fine with it because they don't want to take on their progressive base, which thinks that the border should be wide open. The fact is that the border was closed under President Trump, but for political reasons, the Biden administration decided to reject every single policy position that was working for the sake of saying they were repealing what they call President Trump's inhumane policies. Well, when there are thousands of people sleeping on the streets of El Paso with nowhere to go, that is not humane policy, and it's certainly not humane for Americans and Border Patrol agents to bear the brunt of this self-inflicted crisis.
Yeah, and take a look at your screens as we're having this discussion. These are live pictures happening right now of illegal immigrants crossing the border there at Eagle Pass, Texas. They are crossing the river there, and you know, there's just little to do for the Border Patrol agents to stop them. And, you know, as Juan mentioned, I want to point out some of these folks, they certainly do have legitimate asylum claims, but not all of them. And these are pictures that, you know, we see every single day. And you wonder how much worse this is going to get when Title 42 does end. But got to leave it there. Katie Pavlich, Juan Williams, thank you so much for joining the discussion today. I really appreciate it, and have a Merry Christmas, both of you.
Thanks.
Merry Christmas.